Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight up, and I want you to hear this with your whole spirit, not just your ears. You don't have to stay poor. I didn't say it would be easy. I didn't say it would be fast. I said you don't have to stay there. Too many people treat poverty like it's permanent, like it's a family tradition that must be honored. No, being broke is a season, not a destiny. Poverty is not a life sentence. And I need you to really understand that, because too many people walk around carrying it like it's permanent, like it's stamped on their birth certificate. Being poor is not who you are, it's where you are. And where you are can change. Circumstances are temporary, but people make them permanent when they stop believing movement is possible. The danger isn't being broke. The danger is thinking broke is all you'll ever be. A lot of folks confuse familiarity with destiny. You grow up seeing struggle, hearing struggle, breathing struggle, and after a while it feels normal. Normal doesn't mean acceptable. Normal doesn't mean final. It just means you've been there a long time. When you stay somewhere too long, your mind starts decorating the prison cell. You call it reality, you call it just life. But reality can be edited if you're willing to challenge it. Here's the truth people don't like to hear: poverty survives because it convinces you to stop imagining something better. The moment you stop dreaming, you stop moving. And the moment you stop moving, life moves on without you. That's why the first escape from poverty doesn't happen in your wallet. It happens in your thinking. If you believe this is all you deserve, this is all you'll accept, life will never give you more than you're willing to ask for and work toward. Now let's be clear, this isn't about pretending struggle doesn't exist. Bills are real. Responsibilities are real. Pressure is real. But so is possibility. People come from nothing every single day and build something. Not because they're special, but because they refuse to agree with the idea that their current condition was permanent. They saw poverty as a chapter, not the whole book. Staying poor often feels safer than trying to leave it. Because trying means risking embarrassment. Trying means you might fail publicly. Trying means you might have to start over more than once. But comfort in struggle is still struggle. At least when you try, you're moving. At least when you try, you're alive in the process. You don't need a perfect plan to change your situation. You need a decision. A decision that says, this will not be my forever. Once that decision is made, your behavior starts shifting. You pay attention differently. You listen differently. You start learning instead of complaining. You start asking better questions. And slowly, quietly, the ground begins to move under your feet. Poverty wants patience from you, the wrong kind. It wants you to wait forever. Growth requires urgency. Not panic, but urgency. The understanding that time is passing whether you change or not. Every year you delay believing in yourself is a year you don't get back. You may not control where you started, but you absolutely influence where you end up. Poverty is a condition, not a character trait. It does not define your intelligence, your worth, or your future. And the moment you stop identifying with it, the moment you stop saying, this is just who I am, you take the first real step out. Your mindset decides your income long before your skills ever do. And this is where most people miss it. They think if they just get one more qualification, one more connection, one more lucky break, everything will change. But people with the same skills live completely different lives because they think differently. Two people can stand at the same starting line with the same ability, and the one who believes growth is possible will always outpace the one who believes limitation is normal. A limited mindset shrinks opportunity. It talks you out of trying before you ever fail. It says, I'm not good with money. I'm not built for business. People like me don't succeed. And the mind listens. It takes those statements as instructions. When you repeat small thinking long enough, your actions start matching it. You stop applying. You stop learning. You stop asking. Not because doors aren't there, but because you convinced yourself they won't open. A growth mindset doesn't deny reality, it challenges it. It looks at lack and says, this isn't ideal, but it's not permanent. It understands that skill can be learned, money can be managed, and confidence can be built. People who win financially aren't fearless, they're decisive. They move even while unsure. They understand that clarity comes from action, not waiting. Most people want proof before they change their thinking, but life works in reverse. You think different first, then life responds. When you raise your expectations, you raise your standards. When your standards rise, your behavior changes. You stop tolerating wasted time. You stop spending money emotionally. You stop surrounding yourself with people who mock ambition. And none of that happens because your bank account improved. It happens because your mindset did. There's also a huge difference between being realistic and being negative. Realistic people plan. Negative people quit early and call it wisdom. They disguise fear as intelligence. They say, I'm just being practical, when what they really mean is, I don't want to risk being wrong. But nothing valuable is built without risk. Safety doesn't produce growth, effort does. Your mind is either your greatest asset or your most expensive liability. Every belief you hold either pays you or costs you. If you believe money is evil, you'll subconsciously push it away. If you believe success is for other people, you'll never fully pursue it. The mind always finds evidence to support what it already believes, even if that belief is wrong. Changing your mindset doesn't mean overnight confidence or fake positivity. It means catching your thoughts and correcting them. It means replacing I can't with I'm learning. It means understanding that discipline will carry you when motivation disappears. Motivation comes and goes, mindset stays. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you believe you're capable of applying. The moment you stop seeing yourself as limited, you start seeing options everywhere. And once your mind opens, income eventually follows because money flows toward value, confidence, and consistency, not doubt. Fear, comfort, and excuses are the quiet enemies that keep people exactly where they are, year after year, while life keeps moving forward without them. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or opportunity. They fail because they get too comfortable being uncomfortable. They learn how to survive instead of how to grow. And survival feels safe, growth feels risky. Fear is powerful because it speaks in a reasonable voice. It doesn't usually scream, it whispers. It says, what if you embarrass yourself? What if you try and fail? But here's what fear never asks you. What if you succeed? It never asks, what will your life look like if you don't try? Fear is focused on protecting your feelings, not your future. And if you let it drive, it will keep you parked forever. Comfort is even more dangerous because it doesn't feel like an enemy. It feels like relief. It feels like rest. But comfort has a hidden cost. It trades short-term peace for long-term regret. You get used to the same job you complain about, the same income that barely stretches, the same routine that doesn't challenge you. After a while, you stop questioning it. You call it stability, but deep down, you know it's just familiarity. Excuses are the final lock on the door. Excuses sound logical. I don't have time. I don't have money. The system is against me. Some of those things may be true, but they're still excuses if they stop you from acting. An excuse explains the problem, but it never solves it. And the more you repeat an excuse, the more convincing it becomes until you believe it completely. Here's the hard truth. Nobody ever escaped poverty by protecting their comfort. Nobody ever built a better life by waiting for perfect conditions. Progress requires inconvenience. It requires sacrifice. It requires doing things when you're tired, unsure, and sometimes scared. If you wait until fear disappears, you'll wait forever. People often say they're afraid of failure, but that's not the real fear. The real fear is judgment. It's the fear of people talking, laughing, doubting you. But those same people won't pay your bills or live your life. And many of them are just as afraid as you are. They just cope by criticizing anyone who tries. Comfort keeps you busy but not productive. You stay distracted, scrolling, talking, planning, but never executing. Excuses help you sleep at night, but they steal your mornings. They steal your momentum. They steal your belief. And slowly, without noticing, years go by. Fear shrinks when you move toward it. Comfort loses its grip when you step outside it. Excuses die the moment you take responsibility. Responsibility is heavy, but freedom lives inside it. The moment you stop blaming and start owning your choices, you gain power. Not power over everything, power over yourself. Staying stuck is familiar, growth is unknown, but the unknown is where change lives. And every time you choose action over comfort, courage over fear, and ownership over excuses, you quietly step closer to a life you once thought was impossible. Faith, effort, and persistence are the real tools that rewrite a financial story, and none of them work alone. Faith without effort is just wishing. Effort without faith burns you out. Persistence without belief feels pointless. But when the three come together, something powerful happens: momentum. And momentum is what changes lives. Faith is not pretending everything is fine. Faith is deciding to move even when everything isn't. It's believing there is more for you before you see evidence of it. Most people want proof first, but proof comes last. Faith is what gets you started when the numbers don't add up, when support is low, and when results are slow. It's the quiet voice that says, keep going, even when nobody else understands why you're trying so hard. Effort is the part nobody likes to talk about because it's not glamorous. It's showing up when you don't feel inspired. It's working on your goals after a long day. It's choosing discipline over motivation. Motivation is emotional. Effort is intentional. Motivation waits for a feeling. Effort moves regardless of how you feel. And life rewards effort far more consistently than it rewards talent. A lot of people work hard, but not consistently. They sprint for a week, then disappear for a month. Progress doesn't respond to intensity alone. It responds to repetition. Small actions done daily outperform big actions done occasionally. The people who change their financial future aren't always the smartest, they're the most consistent. They keep going long after the excitement fades. Persistence is what carries you through disappointment, because disappointment will come, plans won't work, people won't show up, doors will close. If you quit every time something goes wrong, you'll never stay anywhere long enough to see success. Persistence says, this didn't work, but I'm still working. It understands that failure is information, not a verdict. Here's something important: persistence doesn't mean stubbornly doing the same thing forever. It means staying committed to the goal while being flexible with the approach. You adjust, you learn, you grow. You don't take failure personally, but you take responsibility for improving. Faith keeps your vision alive. Effort turns that vision into action. Persistence protects it when life tries to beat it out of you. Together, they build resilience, and resilience is the difference between people who temporarily struggle and people who permanently change. Many people give up right before things shift, not because the dream was wrong, but because the pressure got heavy. Growth often feels hardest just before the breakthrough. That's why patience matters. Not passive patience, but active patience, continuing to work while waiting for results. Your financial story doesn't change overnight, but it does change the moment you stop quitting on yourself. Every day you choose faith over doubt, effort over excuses, and persistence over comfort. You are rewriting the narrative. You may not see it immediately, but momentum is building. And momentum, once it starts, is very hard to stop.